English podcast with Lara.
Hello! Welcome to English Podcast with Laura. I'm Lara.
And I'm David. Really happy to be here as always.
It's so good to have you, David. Honestly, I feel like today is going to be a great one.
I hope so. I genuinely hope so. Although, I have to say, my morning was a little rough.
Oh no, what happened?
Nothing dramatic, just, I woke up and I just felt like I needed about 3 more hours of sleep. Like my body was just refusing to cooperate.
Oh, I completely understand that feeling. There are mornings where I wake up and I think, why is it already morning? Like, who decided this was a good time to start the day?
Exactly. And then you have to just push through it, right? You get up, you rush around, and somehow you make it.
Somehow you make it. That is the story of my life, honestly. I think I have rushed through more mornings than I can count at this point.
Same. And the thing is, I always tell myself the night before, okay, tomorrow I am going to be calm. I am going to take my time. I am not going to rush. And then the morning comes and it is just chaos.
Total chaos. I think a lot of people listening right now are nodding along because that is just such a relatable thing. And actually, if you are enjoying this already and you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really, truly helps us keep making content like this for you.
It really does mean a lot. So thank you in advance to everyone who does that.
Absolutely. And we are so glad you are here with us today because we have a really fun topic lined up. But before we get into it, David, tell me, is your morning always like this, or was today just a one-off?
Honestly, I would say it depends on the day. Some mornings I feel great, I get up feeling energized, and other mornings it is a real struggle just to get moving.
I think that is very honest and very human. I feel the same way. My mornings are so different from each other. Like, some days I get up and I feel ready, and other days I'm just dragging myself from room to room.
Dragging yourself? Yes, that is the perfect way to describe it. And it made me think, like, do you actually have a set routine? Like, do you follow the same steps every single morning?
That is such a good question. And honestly, it made me realize I do have a routine, but I never really thought about how to describe it clearly. Like, if someone asked me right now, what does your morning look like? I think I would struggle a little.
Right, because putting it into words, especially in English, is actually harder than it sounds.
It really is, and that's kind of what we want to dig into today. Because talking about your daily routine is one of those things that sounds simple, but when you actually try to do it in English, you realize there are so many little phrases and expressions that make it sound natural versus, well, a little stiff.
Totally. And I think a lot of English learners, when they try to describe their day, they default to very basic sentences. Like, I wake up at 7, I eat breakfast, I go to work. And those sentences are correct, but they do not really sound like how a native speaker would say it.
Exactly. They're grammatically fine, but they feel a little robotic. And the goal is to sound more natural, more fluid, like you are actually having a conversation and not reading from a list.
Right. So let's start with the morning, because that is where the day begins, obviously. And there are some really specific phrases that people use when they talk about their mornings.
Yes, and the first one I want to bring up is something almost everyone does, or at least tries to avoid doing. The alarm goes off.
The alarm goes off. Such a simple phrase, but so important. And I love that it is goes off and not rings or starts. Like in natural English, we say the alarm goes off.
Right, and then what do a lot of people do when the alarm goes off?
They hit the snooze button.
They hit the snooze button, and I am absolutely one of those people. I hit the snooze button at least twice every morning.
At least twice. Okay, I used to do that too, but I actually trained myself to stop because I read somewhere that hitting snooze actually makes you feel more tired, not less.
Wait, really? That is so counterintuitive, but actually I believe it because every time I do hit snooze and go back to sleep for 10 minutes, I wake up feeling worse than before.
Exactly. Anyway, so after the alarm goes off and you hopefully do not hit snooze too many times, what comes next? You get up, you get dressed, and then this is a big one for a lot of people. Do you eat breakfast or do you skip breakfast?
Ooh, that is a great one. And skip breakfast is such a useful phrase. Skip means to not do something that you normally would do. So skip breakfast means you just don't eat in the morning. You go straight to the next thing.
And a lot of people skip breakfast, especially when they are running late, which brings us to another great phrase, head out. Like you get dressed, maybe you grab something quickly, and then you head out.
Head out, meaning you leave the house, you go out. I use that phrase all the time. I headed out around 8. It just sounds so natural.
It does. And here's something really useful for learners. When you talk about habits or things you do regularly, you use what we call frequency expressions. So instead of just saying, I eat breakfast, you say, I usually eat breakfast, or I always skip breakfast, or I never have time.
Yes, I usually, I always, I never. Those little words completely change the sentence. They tell people how often something happens, and they make your English sound so much more natural and real.
And they're so easy to add in. You just drop them right before the main verb. I always wake up at 7. I never hit the snooze button. Well, some of us never hit the snooze button.
Some of us. Okay, so we want to hear from you. Are you a morning person or a night owl? A night owl is someone who stays up late and prefers the nighttime. Drop your answer in the comments below. We genuinely love reading them.
We really do. So tell us, which one are you?
And it is funny because I feel like the answer to that question says a lot about your afternoon, too. Like, if you are a night owl, chances are your midday is when you finally start feeling awake and productive.
That is so true. I am definitely more of a night owl, and I have noticed that I hit my stride, like I really get going somewhere around 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Hit your stride. I love that. That is such a natural expression. It means you reach the point where you are performing at your best, where things start flowing well.
Exactly. And for me, that is the afternoon. That is when I can actually focus, get things done, catch up on emails, all of that.
Catch up on. Okay, that is such an important phrase for the afternoon because I feel like the afternoon is when everyone is trying to catch up on something. Catch up on means to deal with things you have not had time for yet. So you catch up on emails, catch up on messages, catch up on work you did not finish in the morning.
Yes, and it always feels like there is a pile of things waiting for you, right? Like the morning goes by and suddenly it's noon and you think, okay, I need to catch up on everything I missed.
The pile is always there. And sometimes, if you're not careful, you fall behind, which is kind of the opposite feeling. Fall behind means you're not keeping up with what you need to do. Things are piling up and you're losing ground.
Fall behind, yes, and that afternoon slump does not help. You know that feeling around 2 or 3 o'clock where your energy just drops?
Oh, completely. That's actually a real thing. It's connected to your body's natural rhythm. And that's usually when people take a break or grab a bite to eat.
Grab a bite. Such a casual, natural phrase. It just means to eat something quickly, informally. You're not sitting down for a full meal. You're just grabbing something small to keep you going.
Right, like you step away from your desk, grab a bite, maybe a snack or a quick lunch, and then you come back feeling a little more human.
A little more human, yes. And that break actually helps you stay on top of things for the rest of the day. Stay on top of things means to manage your tasks well, to keep everything under control so nothing gets out of hand.
I love that phrase because it really captures that feeling of being organized and in control. Like you're not drowning in your to-do list, you're staying on top of it.
And honestly, the people who stay on top of things are usually the ones who get the ball rolling early. Get the ball rolling means to start something, to take the first step that gets everything moving.
Oh, that's a good one. And it makes sense, right? If you get the ball rolling on your most important task early in the afternoon, you have momentum for the rest of the day.
Exactly. Although I will admit there are days where I'm so tired by the afternoon that I end up burning the midnight oil just to finish everything.
Burn the midnight oil. Tell me you've heard this one before. It means to stay up very late working or studying. It comes from the old days when people literally burned oil in lamps to have light at night.
And it's so descriptive, right? Like you can almost picture someone hunched over a desk at midnight, exhausted, but still going.
That is a very accurate picture of my university days, honestly.
Same, completely same.
And it is interesting because when you are in that mode, burning the midnight oil, rushing through your afternoon, you kind of stop being present in your own day. Like you were just moving from one thing to the next without really thinking about it.
That is such a good point. And I think that is actually why a lot of people struggle to describe their routines, because they are so automatic. You just do them without noticing.
Right, you are on autopilot. And then someone asks you, so what does your typical day look like? And you just blank.
Completely blank. And that actually reminds me of something that happened to me not too long ago. I was at a language exchange meetup, and someone came up to me and asked me to describe my daily routine in English. And I froze.
No, really?
I'm serious. I knew all the words individually, but putting them together in a natural flowing way in the moment, that was a different story.
Okay, so let's actually practice that right now. Let's do a little role play. Pretend I'm someone you just met at a language class and I ask you about your day. Ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Hey, it's nice to meet you. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Nice to meet you too. So I tend to start my day by making coffee. That is honestly the first thing I do before anything else.
Oh, a coffee person. I love that. And then what?
After that, I usually check my phone for a few minutes just to see if anything urgent came in overnight. And then I try to get some work done in the morning while I'm still focused.
That sounds really productive. Do you have a lunch break or do you just work straight through?
I try to make time for a proper break around noon. I think it's really important. Otherwise, the whole afternoon falls apart for me.
I totally get that. And what about after work? How do you spend your evenings?
By the time I finish work, I'm usually pretty tired, so I like to do something relaxing, maybe watch something, read a little, just decompress.
That sounds really nice, actually. Okay, let's step out of the role play for a second. David, did you notice what you did there? You used some really great connecting phrases.
I try to. I tend to start my day by, after that, by the time.
Yes, and those are so important. I tend to is a softer, more natural way of saying I usually. It sounds less rigid, more conversational. And by the time is brilliant for showing that time has passed and something has happened as a result.
Right, like by the time I finish work implies that work took a while, that the day went by, and now I'm at a different point.
Exactly. And I try to make time for is such a real human phrase. It suggests that it's not always easy, that you have to make an effort, which is so much more honest than just saying, I do this every day.
Because life is not always perfectly scheduled, right? Sometimes things shift and you have to adjust.
Totally. And using phrases like I try to or I tend to reflects that reality. It makes your English sound authentic instead of like a perfectly written paragraph.
And once you start using these connectors, first, then, after that, by the time, once I finish, your whole description just flows so much more smoothly.
It really does. It's the difference between listing facts and actually telling a story about your day.
And telling a story about your day is actually something people do all the time without realizing it. Like when a friend asks how your day was, you naturally sequence things. You say, first this happened, then that. And by the end, you have painted a whole picture.
Exactly, and that is what we want in English too, that same natural flow. And actually, let's keep going with the role play because I want to get into the evening side of things, because I feel like that is where a lot of interesting habits live.
Oh, absolutely. Evening routines are so personal, right? Like everyone has their own way of winding down.
Winding down, yes, and that is actually a perfect phrase to start with. Unwind and wind down are very similar. They both mean to relax and let go of the stress of the day. Like your body and mind are slowly shifting from busy mode into rest mode.
I love that image, shifting from busy mode into rest mode. And for me, unwinding usually involves just sitting somewhere quiet for a bit. No screens, no noise, just a few minutes of nothing.
That sounds heavenly, honestly. Okay, let's jump back into the role play. I will keep going as the person you just met. So you mentioned you like to decompress in the evenings. Do you have like a specific routine before bed?
Yeah, actually, I try to catch up with my family in the evenings, like have a proper conversation, not just a quick hello. I think that really helps me feel grounded before the night.
Oh, that is really lovely. Do you stay up late or are you pretty good about going to bed at a reasonable time?
I try to be good about it. I usually set an alarm for the next morning the night before, and that kind of signals to my brain that, okay, the day is ending, it is time to wind down.
Oh, that is actually a really smart psychological trick. And do you fall asleep easily or do you need some time?
Honestly, if I've had a busy day, I sometimes doze off really quickly. Like, I sit down to read, and within 10 minutes, I'm gone.
Oh, that is actually a really smart psychological trick. And do you fall asleep easily or do you need some time?
Honestly, if I've had a busy day, I sometimes doze off really quickly. Like, I sit down to read, and within 10 minutes, I'm gone.
Toes off. I love that phrase. It's so gentle. You don't crash, you don't pass out, you just doze off. Like sleep just quietly takes over.
Exactly. It creeps up on you. And on those nights, I actually get a good night's sleep, which makes such a difference the next morning.
Get a good night's sleep. Such a classic phrase and so important. And I want to pause here for a second because I noticed something in what you said earlier that I want to gently touch on. You said, catch up with my family. Now that is correct, but sometimes learners mix this up. They say catch up on my family, which sounds a little different.
Oh, right, because catch up on is for tasks and information, like emails or news, but catch up with is for people, like reconnecting with someone.
Exactly. Catch up with a person, catch up on a task. It's a small difference, but it really matters. And another one I hear sometimes is, I make my homework at night.
Oh, yes, and the correction there is do your homework, not make. In English, you do homework, you do chores, you do exercise, you make a meal, you make a plan, you make a decision.
Right, and it's one of those things that feels random, but once you hear the correct version enough times, it just clicks. And another really common one, people sometimes say, I go to the bed at 10.
And it should just be go to bed, no the. It's one of those fixed phrases in English where the article just disappears. Go to bed, go to school, go to work. No the needed.
No the needed. English is full of those little surprises, honestly.
It really is. But that's also what makes it interesting, right? Every little correction is a step forward.
It really is. And you know what I find fascinating? Some of these phrases that trip people up are actually the ones that sound the most natural once you get them right. Like the moment you stop saying go to the bed and just say go to bed, something clicks and it starts feeling like real English.
Totally. And I think that is connected to pronunciation too, because sometimes the reason a phrase sounds off is not just the words, it is the way it is being said. Like the rhythm is slightly wrong or a sound is a little too precise.
Oh, that is such a good point because natural English has this flow to it, this kind of connectedness between words. Like words do not always sound the way they look on paper.
Exactly. And the great example of that is something we have already used a few times today. Wake up and get up. When you say them naturally, fast, in a sentence, the sounds blend together.
Right, so wake up becomes almost like wake up as one smooth sound, and get up becomes get up. The consonant at the end of the first word links right into the vowel at the beginning of the next.
That is called consonant to vowel linking, and it happens all the time in natural English speech. Head out is another one. You don't say head, pause, out, you say head out, all connected.
And if you're a learner and you're speaking too carefully, too precisely, separating every single word, it can actually make you harder to understand, not easier.
Which is counterintuitive but true. Native speakers are so used to that linked, flowing sound that when words are too separated, it can actually sound unnatural to their ear.
So the advice is practice linking. Let the words flow into each other. And a great way to do that is shadowing. So let me say a sentence, and David, you repeat it, and everyone listening, you repeat it too.
Okay, I'm ready.
I usually wake up and head out by 8.
I usually wake up and head out by 8.
Really good. Now, let's focus on usually for a second, because that word trips a lot of people up. It's 3 syllables. Usually.
Usually.
Yes, a lot of learners say it like usually, which adds an extra syllable and changes the whole feel of the word. It's usually nice and smooth.
And the same thing happens with the word routine. People sometimes stress the wrong syllable. They say routine with the emphasis on the first part, but it's actually routine. The stress is on the second syllable. Routine, your daily routine.
Routine. And honestly, once you hear it said correctly a few times, it's hard to unhear it. And there's one more really important one, and this is about speaking naturally versus formally. In spoken English, going to very often becomes gonna.
Gonna, like I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow instead of I am going to wake up early tomorrow.
Right, and both are correct in speech, but gonna is what you'll hear constantly in natural conversation. Just keep in mind, if you're writing formally, an email, an essay, you would never write gonna. That stays in spoken English only.
That's such an important distinction because learners sometimes hear gonna and think it's wrong, like a mistake, but it's completely normal and natural in conversation.
Completely normal. So let's do one more shadow moment. Repeat after me nice and naturally. I'm going to grab a bite and then head out.
I'm gonna grab a bite and then head out.
Perfect. And listeners, pause the video right now if you want. Say it out loud. Don't be shy. That's how it sticks.
And I think that is honestly one of the best things you can do as a learner. Just say things out loud, even if you feel a little silly doing it, because the mouth needs practice just as much as the brain does.
Completely agree. And it connects to something I find really interesting about routines in general, which is how different they can look depending on where you are from or what culture you grew up in.
Oh, that is such a rich area to explore because the way people structure their days is so deeply tied to culture. Like, what counts as a normal morning or a normal evening is completely different depending on where you are in the world.
Right, and English actually has some really specific words and expressions that reflect certain cultural attitudes toward routines. Like, have you ever heard someone described as a creature of habit?
Oh yes, a creature of habit. That is someone who likes to do the same things in the same way every single day. They find comfort in repetition, in predictability.
Exactly. And in some cultures, that is seen as a very positive thing, like you are reliable and consistent. But in other contexts in English, calling someone a creature of habit can have a slightly teasing tone, like you're a little too rigid, a little resistant to change.
Which leads perfectly into another great expression. Be set in your ways. If someone is set in their ways, they are very fixed in their habits and they do not like changing them.
Yes, and that one almost always has a slightly negative or at least gently critical tone. Like, oh, he is very set in his ways, meaning he's not very open to doing things differently.
And the opposite of that would be someone who likes to shake up their routine. Shake up means to change things significantly, to disrupt the usual pattern on purpose.
I love that phrase, shake up your routine. It has this energetic, almost exciting feeling to it, like you are choosing to break the pattern and try something new.
And culturally, that idea of shaking things up is very celebrated in a lot of English-speaking contexts. There's this value placed on reinvention, on not getting too comfortable.
Which is interesting because it sits right alongside another expression that captures the opposite feeling, going through the motions. If you are going through the motions, you are doing your routine, but without any real energy or intention behind it, just mechanically moving through the steps.
Oh, that is such a real feeling, like you're physically present in your day, but mentally you have checked out.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people experience that, especially when a routine becomes too repetitive. It stops feeling meaningful and starts feeling like just going through the motions.
And that's where the concept of me time becomes really important. Me time is a very common English expression, especially in British and American culture, for time you deliberately set aside just for yourself. No obligations, no work, no other people's needs.
Me time. And it's fascinating because in some cultures, the idea of prioritizing time just for yourself can feel almost selfish. But in English-speaking cultures, me time is talked about very openly and positively, like it's a necessary part of a healthy routine.
Right. It's seen as something you need, not something you indulge in. And there's also a really subtle but important distinction in English between three words that learners sometimes use interchangeably: habit, routine, and ritual.
This is such a good one because they feel similar, but they're not quite the same. A habit is something you do almost automatically without thinking, like checking your phone when you wake up.
A routine is a sequence of habits, a structured pattern you follow regularly, like your whole morning from waking up to heading out.
And a ritual is something you do with intention and meaning attached to it. Like if making your morning coffee isn't just about the caffeine, but about having a quiet moment to yourself before the day begins, that's a ritual.
That distinction is so nuanced and so beautiful, honestly, because it shows how language can capture not just what you do, but how you feel about what you do.
And that's exactly what learning a language is really about, right? Not just the words, but the meaning living inside them.
That is such a lovely way to put it. And honestly, sitting here talking about all of this, I feel like I have learned something about my own day, not just about English.
Right? Like we came in to talk about routines, and now I am rethinking my entire relationship with my morning coffee.
Exactly. Is it a habit? Is it a routine? Is it a ritual? These are the big questions.
The truly important questions in life. But seriously, I think what I love most about this topic is how personal it is. Like everyone has a daily routine, everyone moves through their day in some way, and yet every single person's version of that looks completely different.
And being able to talk about it in English, to actually describe your day in a way that sounds natural and flows well, that is such a confidence booster because it is one of the first things people ask you when you meet them, right? So what does your day look like? What do you do?
Totally. And it is one of those conversations where if you have the language ready, you stop feeling like you are searching for words and you start actually connecting with the person in front of you.
Which is the whole point of language at the end of the day. Connection, not perfection.
Connection, not perfection. I want that on a poster, honestly.
Put it on a mug, put it on a t-shirt, I would buy it.
We'll get right on that. But genuinely, I hope that everyone listening today feels a little more equipped to talk about their day, whether it's describing your morning to a new friend, chatting with a colleague about your afternoon, or just feeling more comfortable putting your daily life into English words.
And I think the biggest takeaway for me personally is that it's not about having a perfect routine or a perfectly structured day. It's about having the language to describe whatever your day actually looks like, messy and real and human.
Messy and real and human, yes, because that's what life is, and that's what language should reflect.
Absolutely. And on that note, we want to hear from you. We always do, but especially today because this topic is so personal.
Yes, so here's our question for you. What is one part of your daily routine that you absolutely cannot skip? Like if that one thing doesn't happen, your whole day feels off. Tell us in the comments below. We genuinely read every single one.
We really do. And if today's episode gave you something useful, something you're actually going to use the next time someone asks about your day, please give us a like. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps more people find this podcast.
And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, join our little community here, and come back for more because we have so many great topics coming up.
So many good ones. I'm already excited about the next one, honestly.
Same. And to everyone who has been with us today, thank you so much, truly. It means everything to us that you spend your time here learning with us.
It really does. Take care of yourselves. Keep practicing. Keep speaking out loud, even when it feels silly.
Especially when it feels silly. That's when the real learning happens.